Hey guys, CBI and Prinsu here today to show you our brand new installation video for the clamping ladder for the 6th gen Toyota 4Runner. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so before we get started, let's do a quick little double check and make sure that we actually have all of our components here. For the ladder, we're gonna have the 2 outer side rails. We're gonna have the ladder top hooking bracket, the ladder top cap bracket, 5 rungs, bottom cap bracket, clamping bracket, clamping plate, 3 of these rectangular 3M pieces, and 1 of these larger 3M pieces. That's all the parts that are gonna come in your kit, plus you're gonna have your hardware. All right, guys, so really quick, let's talk about the tools that we're gonna need for this really quick. We're gonna grab a tape measure, we're gonna grab a 7/16 socket, a 3/16 Allen, 1/2 inch wrench, a 1/8 inch Allen, my ratchet, and some painter's tape. And that's all you're gonna need. Alrighty guys, so the first step, what we're gonna start with is we're gonna start by assembling the rungs to the ladder side rails. And how we're gonna do that is by these 1.5 inch long black carriage bolts that are 1/4 with the corresponding washers and the corresponding black nylocks here that you see. First, we're just gonna take a rung and we're gonna stand up our side rails like so. We're gonna start in the top ladder rung hole. Line these both up, kind of set it so it'll kind of hold itself. And then I'm going to drop my carriage bolt through first. And then we're going to put a washer on the back side, followed by that nylock nut. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're actually going to skip every other hole until we get to the very bottom. We give you extra holes that way you can kind of customize the rung placement stuff, but for this video we're going to skip every other. We're going to show you what it looks like in the normal design configuration. So same thing, you're going to grab the rest of your rungs. We're going to finish going down the rest of the ladder. And don't worry about tightening these down just yet, guys, because we're gonna assemble quite a bit more of the ladder first, and then we'll kind of cinch them down. Okay, all right, there you go. Your rungs are loosely assembled. Like I said, we're not gonna tighten them down just yet. We're gonna attach the ladder top cap and the ladder bottom cap right now. Alrighty guys, so here you can tell we flip the ladder over. It's gonna make it a little bit easier to install these cap brackets. The side with the sharper angle is gonna be the top here. And this is the ladder top cap bracket, as you can see. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna grab these 1.5 inch long 5/16 button heads with a corresponding washer and a corresponding nylock. We're gonna line up our bracket like so over the top of these rails, and you're gonna see the corresponding holes. We're gonna line them up. You're gonna run your screw through. Oh, do not forget your washer first. We're gonna run the screw with the washer through. And then on the back side is gonna go your nylock nut. And then we're gonna repeat that with the other 3 for this bracket. Alrighty, okay, we've got that on there. Now we can start working on the bottom cap bracket. Alrighty guys, it's gonna be pretty much the exact same thing for the bottom cap bracket. Here it is. Same thing, you're gonna have corresponding holes on the side. We're gonna use the exact same 1.5 inch long button head screws, corresponding washer and nylock. So we're gonna grab those. Same thing, we're gonna line up our holes here. We're going to run them through like so. Nylock on the back. Okay. Alrighty guys, so now that we've got it to this point, we can start tightening down some of these fasteners on these rungs. You're gonna wanna make sure that the ladder stays square though while you're tightening down. You don't want it to shift and kind of be at any sort of an angle like that. So right now, we're gonna grab our 7/16 socket here. I'm gonna make sure this is squared up as much as I can. Sometimes you can set it like this vertically, and that will kind of help you a little bit too, to get a couple started. Okay, and once you get one started, that should hold it pretty square for you. You can zip down the rest of them pretty quick. Then from here, I'm gonna grab our 3/16 Allen and our 1/2" wrench here, and that's how we're gonna tighten down these brackets on the top and on the bottom. So, 1/2", usually easier to grab the box end, slip it over that nylock, 3/16 in the Allen. Repeat the same thing with the bottom side. Make sure that it's sitting flat up against the side rail, so you don't want it kind of flopping down and being at any weird angle. So make sure that's sitting where it should be. Okay, alrighty, now that we have that all tightened up, everything's looking pretty dang square. I don't think we're at an angle at all. We're gonna focus on actually getting the top hook bracket installed onto the vehicle so that we can attach the rest of the ladder to that bracket. Let's do it. So for this step, guys, before we actually do anything else, we need to kind of do a little bit of pre-assembly with this top hook bracket that you can see here and this 3M piece. What we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it over to the bottom side. And how we're gonna do it is we're gonna remove this brown backer side and we're gonna align up these little corners here with the corners that are right here. And then we're gonna kind of roll it up into the hooks. And then that way we can have the pad on there. So really quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take off the brown backing really fast. Okay, make sure you guys take your time with this. This is very strong adhesive. It's kind of a first try, you have to get it right because you don't wanna try to peel it back off and do it again. Like I said, it's very, very strong. Kind of a pain to get it back off if you do it wrong. It doesn't have to be on the money perfect, but get it as close as you can. Give it a nice firm press. Make sure it's all applied really well. Just like that, ready to go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this bracket, we're gonna go to the top of the vehicle, and we're gonna use it to measure exactly where the ladder is gonna need to be positioned side to side on the vehicle, okay? All right, guys, so for this step, we're gonna show you exactly where you're gonna need to locate this top hook bracket so it'll locate the rest of the ladder side to side. I've got it hooked down into here with the red backing on. Do not take the red backing off beforehand. I just kind of have it setting in here. That way we can kind of slide it side to side, back and forth. So really quick, you're just gonna wanna set it in there. And then this is kind of the crucial measurement that you're gonna wanna pay attention to. From the outside of this rain gutter rubber track piece, you're gonna wanna hook your tape measure in there. And then you're gonna wanna go about 7 1/4 inches to this inner face right here. And then what we're gonna do, just gonna grab some tape. We're going to, a little long, but we're going to mark right where, let's shorten that up a little bit. There we go. Going to mark right on that spot. That way we can save it. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the bracket back off. We're gonna take off that red backing of this 3M piece, place it right back down the same spot, and then you're gonna really stick it down good, and then we'll be ready to attach the rest of the ladder. Alrighty guys, so here we are. We're gonna peel off this red side of this adhesive. I've got my knife here just so it's a little bit easier to get this backing off. You can use a pick or whatever you have. That way you can kind of have something started there, and then you can peel it off. So now that this is exposed, guys, like I said before with it, when you were applying it to this, take your time. Now it's ready to go. You have to kind of do it right on the first try, take it slow. Yeah, let's do it. Let's stick it to it. So here you can see, guys, I've got the bracket placing down right here. Just hook it in, make sure you don't accidentally prematurely stick it. Give it a few really good firm presses, make sure it is sticking as evenly as possible. Then from there, you can kind of remove your marking tape and you're ready for the rest of the ladder. Alrighty guys, so now we've got the rest of the ladder here. We're actually gonna fasten it to this top hook bracket here with these 5/16 by 3/4 inch long button screws again. You have these corresponding slots here in the top of your ladder top cap bracket that you're gonna use on these press certs. I've got this little piece of pipe insulation here that I can kind of just set in between the ladder and the rest of the hatch. That way the ladder can't just freely swing and hit the rest of the vehicle. So you can just take the ladder and kind of just hook it over top of the bracket like so. Make sure you've got something down there in between, like I said. And then from here, you're gonna take these fasteners and you're gonna thread them through the backside of this top cap bracket into those inserts that are in the hook bracket, okay? So I'm just gonna line those up. Don't worry about getting these cinched down all the way just yet either. Once we get done with the whole clamping system at the bottom of the ladder, then we'll come up and we'll finish fastening these down. So just make sure you get them nice and started. That way they're not gonna come out on you. Grab my Allen real quick. Alrighty, now what we're gonna do, now that we've got this preemptively installed, we're gonna go to the bottom, we're gonna work on the clamping portion. Alrighty guys, now we're gonna focus on the clamping portion of the ladder, which is gonna be the bottom brackets. But before we actually attach it to the vehicle, same thing, we have to do a little bit of pre-assembly first. As you can see here, we have our 3 pieces of 3M that we're gonna need to apply to this bracket and our plate here. And then we're also gonna need to apply these cage nuts to this bracket as well. So really quick, let's start off with the plate, as that one's the easiest. Doesn't matter which side, which orientation, this just needs to go on one of the sides of this plate. So we're gonna take our brown backer off. And then we're going to apply it to the back side of said plate. Press it down, really good. There you go. Okay, and then these other 2 are gonna need to go on this interface and on this other interface of this bracket here. So I'll show you that really quick. So like I said, these 3M pieces right here, one's gonna need to go on this interface here and one's gonna need to go on this interface here. So same thing, we're gonna take off the brown backing on the one side. Like so. And then we're just going to plop it in there softly, like that. And then you're gonna want to start adhering that, just like that. Good to go on that one. Okay, same thing with this one. Like I said, you're gonna want to go on this interface, not the face with the square holes here. You're gonna take off the brown backing again. Do it so you guys can see a little bit. Make sure that's all applied. We're not gonna take off the red backing just yet. We're gonna wait till we're pretty well ready to install it on the vehicle before we do that. But really quick as well, the other thing we have to do is with these square holes, we need to install these cage nuts here. They kind of have these expanding wings here. As you can see, they kind of compress a little bit when you push them in. And those wings are gonna need to snap into this square hole. So I like to use this little something small to kind of press them into this Allen's gonna work good. So you're just gonna need to drop them in, get one side of the wing in, and then kind of get your little tool here, whatever you have. Get the other side of the wing in, snap it into place just like that. Repeat with the opposite side. Get the one side of the wing in, like so. Okay, there you go. You can see that the wings are pushed through to the back side. They're not gonna fall out, they're not gonna go anywhere. So, ready to go. Alrighty guys, so we're here at the bottom of the ladder. This is gonna be the portion where we actually attach this clamping bracket to this bottom cap bracket here. Same thing as with the top cap bracket. We've got these little 3/4 inch long 5/16 button screws that are gonna go up through the bottom of the bottom cap bracket into these press certs that we've provided for you here. So how we're gonna do that, we'll show you really fast. So we're going to open the hatch like so. Let's move this up a little bit, get that out of our way. And before we take off those adhesive pads on the inside, let's show you real quick just kind of how these go up in there. Essentially the bracket is going to come up and over the top, and then it's going to clamp on the inside of the hatch just like that. So really quick, what we're going to do now, we're actually going to take off the red backing on this 3M, and we're gonna get ready to apply it to the rest of the vehicle. Make sure, again, guys, you take your time with this. Don't stick it prematurely or anything like that, because it will be extremely hard to get off, and we'll probably have to get you new pads. So really quick, let's cut to us taking off those adhesive backers, and then we'll put it on the vehicle. Once again, I've got my knife out. You can use a pick, whatever you have. Just makes it a little bit easier to get that red backing off, but that is what we're gonna be doing here. Is we're gonna get underneath there with a knife. We're gonna pick that open, and then you should be able to sneak that red backing out from behind those cage nuts just fine. Same thing with this one, red backing comes off. Okay, and now we're ready to go. Now it's time to attach it to the vehicle. So I'm gonna set this down for just 1 second. And again, I'm gonna open up this hatch like so. And then from here, what we're gonna do, same thing again. We're gonna slip that bracket up and inside of the bottom cap bracket. And then that adhesive portion that we uncovered, you're gonna wanna make sure your ladder's as square as possible. We're gonna adhere that to the outside of the hatch right here, okay? So I actually opened up the hatch a little bit just because I'm a little bit taller, a little bit easier for me. You can do it whichever orientation that you want to, but I'm going to slip this bracket up into here. Be extremely careful. I'm not sticking those on accident. Okay, pretty well in a position where we're gonna need to be. I'm gonna grab my fasteners. These guys, you don't have to run them all the way down yet either until you get the clamping portion done. Just want to make sure they're good and started. Then from here, we're going to press down on the bracket until we're adhered to this outer surface here. You can probably see that a little bit better if I pull it down. As you can see there, it's looking like it's pretty well applied, really good. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the clamping plate, we're gonna sneak it up into here, and then we're gonna use our set screws through the back of the cage nuts to create that clamping force on the outside and on the inside of the hatch. So let's do that. We've got the outside adhered really well. Now it's time to put the inner clamping plate on the inside of these cage nuts here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the red backer, and quick little important note, guys, you can see that the holes are offset from one side to the other. We did that on purpose. You're gonna wanna make sure the holes are facing down towards the more downward side as you slide that in. It's gonna be a little bit easier for the set screws to index off of these holes here. Let's show you what that looks like. So like I said, you're gonna get these little set screws here in your kit. These are 1/4 and they have that little teeny tiny shoulder off of them. So once you slip the clamping plate up in there, then these set screws are gonna go back through the back side of those cage nuts, and they're going to index off of those holes there, and that way it can't move, and that's what will create your clamp. So let's take off the adhesive backer really fast. And then what I'm gonna do now, like I said, remember the holes are facing the more downward side in relation to the bottom of the hatch. Then what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to slide it in over top of these cage nuts here. Trying to be sure I don't accidentally adhere it beforehand. We're gonna make sure that the holes, might be good to grab a flashlight, I'm kind of getting blinded by our shop lights here, are lined up, which is looking like they are with the inside of the cage nuts. And then from here, I'm going to grab our set screws. And personally, I like to put a little bit of Loctite on them. You don't have to, but never hurts. That way they can't walk loose or anything like that on you. So if you got some spare Loctite, recommend it for sure. If you don't, probably not a huge deal, but you probably should. Okay. And now, this is where our 1/8 inch Allen comes into play. I'm going to set it on that Allen. Then we're going to start running it in to those holes that are on that plate. Don't do one side completely down before the other, kind of do them both at the same time. That way the plate clamps as evenly as possible. And you can kind of bring the hatch down and you can see more or less where those shoulders are indexing into. Make sure that they're going into those holes just right. That way it's gonna hold it as good as possible. Looking like everything's lining up really good. And then you're just gonna wanna run those down, guys, till it's completely snug. Don't have to go crazy with it, but like I said, run down till they're snug. That way there's gonna be no extra movement, just like that, kind of hand tight. Both sides. Triple check, make sure we're lined up good. Yes, we are. Same thing, give it a nice couple ugga-duggas, nothing crazy. Okay, and now you are clamping from both sides of the hatch. You're adhering from both sides of the hatch, super solid, super stable. You're done with the clamp. Alrighty guys, so now that we're done with the actual clamping portion, now we can cinch down these 5/16 screws down at the bottom and down at the top because we left them earlier. And now, it's a wise decision to not go too crazy on these, just with those press certs, that way you don't accidentally knock them out. Recommend using hand tools on them. Alrighty guys, and so the final step, we're gonna stitch down these same screws that we just did in the bottom of that bottom cap bracket. Okay, alrighty. And you're on there, the ladder's all the way installed. Good to go. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab these little plugs. We're gonna plug up these extra holes real quick. Okay, alrighty guys, so now obviously the ladder's on there, super solid. We can take this out, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And now, as you remember, in your hardware kits, you're gonna have these little black plugs. And this is what you're gonna use to actually seal up the rest of these unused holes. All you have to do is just kind of set them on there as square as possible and just kind of press them in from the center. That way you don't get any extra moisture on the inside of these rails. See, just like that, pretty easy. We give you a whole bunch of them, that way if you want to remove some of the rungs, you still have extra ones of these to plug the holes. Alrighty guys, and that concludes the install for the brand new clamping ladder for the 6th gen Toyota 4Runner. Guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, any comments, concerns, please reach out to us in the comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the trails.